If you're getting ready to start a project, digital transformation, system selection, system implementation, um, any kind of a project that's going to include people, process, technology, data, whether it's artificial intelligence, any of the new hot topics today, you're going to have a choice in the way that you organize and run the project, what kind of a methodology you choose, and how you um, approach the way that you're going to improve your operations, grow your business, etc. And over the years, there's been a shift from uh, a more consultative or traditional waterfall approach to a more of a incremental kind of agile approach, if we use some of the buzzwords in technology today. But really, these methodologies have been around for a while, and so we decided to create an educational series, kind of explaining what the differences are in different approaches, and when you may choose to re-engineer the corporation as it was in the old days, or go with a more continuous improvement kind of an approach. And so today we're going to start with just some basic definitions, and then we'll get more into the details and additional videos and some blogs that we're putting together. So consulting in a traditional way has been an interactive relationship between a service provider and a company, where you typically begin with a discovery phase where we're learning about your business, and no matter how much we try, a consultant will never know as much about your business as you. But we try to learn how you currently operate so we don't make mistakes as we put in a new system or recommend a new process. And so we kind of look at that learning and kind of find where those gaps are. People call it gap analysis or lots of different words, but where do you want to be compared to the current state in the future? Like, how are you going to get from point A to point B? What are the holes that you're trying to fill? And so then typically there'll be some sort of a realization phase or a implementation phase or a configuration phase where we kind of put in new processes, technology, techniques, whatever it happens to be based upon the project, to kind of bridge those gaps. And then you typically will want to do testing. Back in the day, there was parallel testing, and then 30 years ago, that kind of, maybe even longer, that kind of went out of vogue, because who has the time to do everything twice, right? You don't want to have the old system and the new system running at the same time, but you do want to test the system, and often it's a combination of tests. There may be something called a unit test, where you test this little component and see if it works. And then, more likely than not, you will want to do a system test, because business processes cut across organizational lines and different functions. So you want to make sure that what I do doesn't negatively impact the person down the line. A system test. And then we'll do training, and then we'll go live. And this was a what they called a waterfall approach, because you wouldn't start the next phase until the last phase ended, and you'd want to put in, sometimes they called them gates, right? We had this gate, we weren't going to go past this point until we knew that this was okay. And it was slow and expensive, and even in the traditional approach today, there's a lot of overlap between phases now, right? I could be testing this piece while I'm building that piece. And so even traditional consulting has become um, more effective, more cost effective, faster. But it's generally a very controlled approach versus more rapid approaches, which have became more in vogue over the recent years, and have become even more popular with the growth of subscription software, because you can just adapt as you go is the idea. And a rapid approach can be very successful, typically when it is well defined and it has a repeatable process. So often, a rapid approach will include a templated solution, hopefully for your particular industry, but it incorporates the best practices from the industry in whatever you're doing. So if the best practice is, um, in credit and collection, is to send out notifications before the payment is due rather than waiting till after the payment is due to say you owe me money and you're behind. Um, those kind of best practices are built into the rapid implementation approach. And so typically, instead of starting with a blank slate, you're starting with a template or with a preconceived idea of what is the best thing to do, how to best use this software, or what the benchmarks are for this particular process. And then you'll prototype those within the company, and you'll do training all throughout the process. So this way, the people are ready when you flip the switch and you go live. Um, and there's definitely testing involved in this process as well. So these are typically, with a rapid approach, you're trying to also do smaller bite-sized chunks of work, and these processes and techniques and methodologies are best supported when they are documented, well defined, and you use experienced people to help you do the work. But I hope that that kind of gives a brief overview of a reengineering approach versus a continuous improvement approach, or a traditional consulting versus a more, what is often called land and expand in the industry, where we come in and we get a beachhead with improving this process, and then from there we're going to add more, get some quick wins in early so that we can build momentum to get you from point A to point B. Um, we'll also be issuing other videos, blogs, and information on, why you might choose one approach over the other in different circumstances and situations, what risks and rewards there are, what circumstances might lead you to choosing one over another. So I hope you found this useful. If you're looking for more information, you can always visit our website at www.i-bn.com, and look forward to continuing our conversations.